What is up, everybody? My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, a like, share, subscribe, and a notification bell because we upload every single day. Today, it was a big day in HBCU football. History, if we're just being honest. I'm going to tell you about it right after the bumper. Stay tuned. What's good people? Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, today was a huge historic day in the world of college football. That is right, Jackson State, coached by head coach Deion Sanders, the HBCU Jackson State, the I Love Jackson State, the Jackson State Tigers, landed the number one player in high school football. The number one player in all of high school football decided he wanted to keep his talents with the HBCU that he loves, and that is Jackson State, and go and play for Deion Sanders. Jackson State, the same Jackson State that just made their way to Atlanta to play in the Celebration Bowl, the HBCU National Championship. Now, this was a big deal. This has been leading every single sportscast everywhere across the United States about how Jackson State, how in the hell did little bitty old Jackson State, the HBCU, a school in the SWAC, was able to pull off this recruiting miracle. This is, quite frankly, it was just a recruiting miracle to get the number one, not the number one player in his position, not the number one player in the state of Georgia, the number one player in the entire country. He chose an HBCU. This was so unfathomable that people want to make up rumors. The rumor now that is going around, or that was going around, it's been dispelled, and I'm going to totally dispel it here on this live, so be sure to hit the thumbs up button. The rumor that was going around is that Barstool Sports signed Travis Hunter, the number one recruit who just picked Jackson State, to a $2 million NIL deal. Now, for those of you who don't know, NIL is the name, image, and likeness that college players are now allowed to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. They can sign autographs and get paid. They can take pictures and get paid. And they can get endorsement deals, just like professionals, which they've essentially been the entire time. But the Supreme Court this past offseason finally approved that college football players and even high school players can get, in certain states, can get paid NIL, get paid for their name, image, and likeness so they can do things to get money, just like any other working employee. As long as you don't have the school jersey on, as long as you're not saying such and such, you can get paid for being you. You can get paid for people saying, we love, Travis Hunter loves to eat at Cane's Chicken. Cane's is a place, Pepsi, Beats by Dre, Chevy, Sprite, Gatorade, all of these different places have NIL deals, college athletes on NIL deals. And so the rumor that was started by some hating people, some haters. The rumor was that Barstool Sports, Deion Sanders works for Barstool. The rumor was Barstool Sports hooked up Travis Hunter with a first it was $1 million. Then I saw $1.5 million. Then I saw $2 million NIL deal. And that is the only reason why he chose Jackson State. Well, let me go ahead and show you some things to go ahead. Let's get rid of that rumor first. We're going to dispel it, and I'm going to tell you why it doesn't even make any sense, because it's, quite frankly, is very, very stupid. So my guy Card Thompson, shout out to Card Thompson, the Jackson State beat writer, he came out and said, sources close to the program tell me the rumor of the NIL deal between Travis Hunter and Barstool Sports are not true. Shout out to Kari, the first person I seen with it. And so the rumor was started by a bunch of people online, but it was really pushed forward by these people, Front Office Sports. They were one of the big, the big publications that pushed forward this fake, super fake rumor. This was tweeted out about 1 o'clock, right when Travis Hunter decided, right around the time all the news was breaking, that he was going to JSU and not Florida State. They said, did Barstool orchestrate a multi-million-dollar signing day flip of the nation's top recruit? Travis Hunter flipped from Florida State to Jackson State, home of head coach Deion Sanders, who works with Barstool. And then they put up some tweets. Barstool, from whoever Bean Invest is, breaking: Barstool Sports and Penn Gaming have reached a deal with the number one high school player in the nation, Travis Hunter. The deal is rumored to be in the millions. And then somebody added Dave Portnoy, who is the president of Barstool Sports, and he just said no comment because he likes drama. He likes to be in that kind of stuff. So this is where it was kind of like orchestrated. It was kind of put on the national scene. It was kind of getting pushed around, message boards and stuff like that. And then, thankful, I will say this, thankful for Front Office Sports. They came and denied it. They said the rumor the Jackson State commit Travis Hunter signed an NIL deal with Barstool is false. So thank God they cleaned up the mess that they helped start. Let's be sure. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why this rumor was started. And I'm going to show you some real NIL deals that have nothing to do with Jackson State and why this never made any sense in the first place. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. The reason why this rumor was even started is because these people, let's just call them people, it'll be nice today. These people can't imagine that this big, strong athlete would turn down their precious Florida State or their precious Georgia or their precious, PWI Power 5 FBS program to go to little bitty old Jackson State. What the hell is Jackson State known for? Why would you go not play for a national championship? Why would you not go play for a team that can be in the college football playoff? Why would you go play with the black folks? Why would you go play in an all-black league in front of all black people, 60,000 every week, and hear people chanting and screaming your name to look like you and your mama and your grandmama and your daddy and your cousin and them? Why would you go do that? Come play for us. You belong to us. You're supposed to come do this for us. You're not supposed to go to Jackson State. You're not supposed to go play at an HBCU. You're not supposed to go try to help shine a light and do great things for that program. You're supposed to come keep the status quo, just like the NCAA's been, and keep the status quo with these high-level FBS Power 5 programs. You're the number one player in the country. And so it was just unfathomable for a lot of these people to see that a top-ranked recruit would choose Jackson State with no alternate incentives, with no incentives involved. They just couldn't believe that he would choose Jackson State. But he's getting $2 million. That's why he would choose Jackson State. It only makes sense, right? Wrong. He chose Jackson State. The man told you why he chose Jackson State. He literally tells you. Let's pull up Travis Hunter's Twitter again. He literally tells every single person why he chose Jackson State. This isn't rocket science, guys. He wants to do something special. He wants to be a part of history. He wants to help change the narrative at Jackson State. He wants to do something that's unprecedented. The man tells you, and Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, sold him on the idea that I can get you drafted, I can get you all the exposure that you can get at Florida State, Georgia, Alabama, etc., etc. And you're going to play in front of 60,000 that look just like you. And you're going to have a college experience that you cannot have at any other university. Period. Not at these other ones anyway. Not at Georgia. You can't have the Jackson State, the HBCU experience at a Georgia, at a Florida State. You just can't. It's not the same. It's not the same. And for those of you who are HBCU grads, and those of you HBCU grads and those who attended HBCUs know this. You know this. You can't get the same experience. Let me share Travis Hunter's. Let me share his tweet once again on why he chose Jackson State. He said it's official. Hashtag JSU. Hashtag Go Tigers, and added the Jackson State football team. He says it right here. Florida State has always been a beacon for me. I grew up down there. That's where my roots are. And I never doubted that I would play for the Seminoles. It's a dream that is hard to let go. But listen. But sometimes we're called into a bigger future than the one we imagine for ourselves. For me, that future is at Jackson State. Jerry Rice, Doug Williams, and of course the legend, JSU's own Walter Payton. Historically black colleges and universities have a rich history in football. I want to be a part of that history and more. I want to be a part of that future. I am making this decision so that I can light the way for others to follow and make it a bit easier for the next player to recognize that HBCUs may have everything that you want and more. An exciting college experience. He lists that. That is a part of what he lists. An exciting college experience, a vital community, and a life-changing place to play football. I look forward to working with the iconic Deion Sanders and especially with my fellow Tigers along with Coach Prime. They have made me feel like I'm a part of the team, like I'm home. and I can't wait to welcome the next class of top athletes into the family of HBCUs. Signed Travis Hunter. Signed Travis Hunter. Period. I mean, come on. Now, don't get me wrong. When Travis Hunter gets to JSU, is he going to get paid? Absolutely, as he should. But people are trying to make it seem, because I also have to give you this context. Be sure to the thumbs up, guys. We're getting more people. Thumbs up. I have to also give you this context. In the state of Georgia, so how the NIL works, in the state of Georgia, high school players, which Travis Hunter currently still is a high school student, high school students aren't allowed to do NIL. Now, in some states, high school students are allowed to capitalize on NIL. I think like California may be one. In some other different states, high school students can capitalize on NIL and still be eligible for college. But in Georgia, it's not one. In Texas, it's not another. Texas is another state that's not. You're not allowed to capitalize and cash in on NILs as a high school student. That's why we saw the number one player in last year's class, the kid that went to Ohio State, the quarterback. He graduated high school early and enrolled into Ohio State so he can get $1 million in NIL. Now he's transferring. He couldn't play at Ohio State. And now he's transferring to Texas. Can't even think of his name right now. But yes, so he graduated early. So Travis Hunter, if he would have gotten that $2 million that everybody's claiming that he got from Barstool Sports, he would be ineligible. He wouldn't be able to play because Barstool can't pay a high school student in the state of Georgia. That's not how the rules work. But people are trying to throw smut on Deion Sanders' name and throw smut on Jackson State name because they mad the best player in high school chose an HBCU over all these other Power 5 PWIs. And the hate runs deep, guys. The hate runs deep. I'm talking about grown-ass men hating on a high school student. You don't believe me? I mean, grown-ass men who work for major networks hating on a high school student. You don't believe? Oh my God! I got to show you. The hate is so sick. Like, these people are sick and they have no lives. Listen to this. Doug Gottlieb, who works for Fox Sports. Look at this tweet. Twitter celebrating a kid making an obvious mistake is hilarious. This tweet comes out right when Travis Hunter announces he's going to Jackson State over Florida State. Doug Gottlieb's a known hater, by the way. Like, he is a well-known hater. And Twitter celebrating a kid making an obvious mistake. What the hell is obvious mistake about the mistake? He's going to get an HBCU experience. Once again, you can't get that at Florida State nor Georgia. He is going to get coached by the greatest defensive back to ever play the game. The greatest, no argument. There's a lot of arguments at a lot of positions. There's arguments about who's the best basketball player, Jordan or LeBron. There's the arguments about the best pass rusher. There's arguments about the best head coach. There's arguments about a bunch of stuff. There's two positions that there's never an argument about. There's never an argument about the greatest quarterback, that's Tom Brady. And there's never an argument about who's the greatest defensive back, DB, corner, whatever, to ever play the game. That is Deion Sanders. He's going to get coached by that guy. So what's stupid about that? He's also going to get a top flight education. He's also going to get a chance to play in front of 60,000 people that look like him every single week. So what? Come on. Doug Gottlieb is a known hater. He is a certified hater. Like, period. Globe Suave says Barstools literally can't. Yes, this is what I've been trying to say. Shout out to Suave. They can't pay the kid. They can't do it. It's against the rules. You think Deion Sanders. And I don't even like, I'm going to just be honest. I've been on record to say I'm not the biggest fan of Barstool. I think, Portnoy does some really crazy stuff, but it is what it is. Deion Sanders works with those guys. You think Deion Sanders, all the great things he's doing, not only for Jackson State, but HBCUs, is going to jeopardize his school, his university, with paying him all this money when he gets to Jackson State, he can get as much money as he wants. Why in the hell would you risk that now when in 3, 5, and 6 months when the kid's on campus, he can get paid as much as he wants? NIL. I'm going to show you guys some real NIL deals that are taking place, and that's why it doesn't make any sense. Because if this was the case, if Barstool paid Travis Hunter $2 million, why in the hell wouldn't Florida State just make it $3 million? Why wouldn't Georgia make it $3.5 million? Like, those schools have way more money than Barstool and than Jackson State. Come on. And they have bigger platforms. They have more recent history. They have all of those. They have better resources. All of those things. So why in the hell would he choose to go to Jackson State when those schools can pay him more? It doesn't make any sense. Yes, Jetson, he is a confirmed hater. Yes. Doug Gottlieb. And it's not just him. It's not just him. He's just the one with the, he's just the biggest one that I saw. I was like, oh my God, like, bless his heart, man. Like, he's really sick. He is really sick hating on an 18-year-old kid. Now, this is also like, I'm not just making these things up, this Barstool thing. Like, people are literally trying to damper the parade, rain on the parade of Jackson State because what Deion's doing is unprecedented. Just because you've never seen it done before doesn't mean it isn't real. So this is some guy on some message board. It looks like he's in a Discord. It looks like he's in some kind of Discord, and it says, just got off a really interesting phone call. Whoever the hell Logan Robinson is. Conversation regarding the deal Travis Hunter made with Deion Sanders, Barstool Sports, and Penn Gaming. Things are going to get very interesting legality-wise. I've been informed that there is a lot of shady behind-the-scenes stuff with a certain sports agency in JSU that doesn't seem right. Oh, my God. We have been sent information that will be thumbing through the next few hours. Sources believe the NCAA is going to bounce on this quick. Like, I'm trying to make this a kid-friendly show today. But I am so pissed at seeing stuff like this. I mean, this is garbage. Like, this is pure garbage. People are so concerned with what's going on with JSU and what's going on with Jackson State that there are real NIL deals that are paying kids a whole bunch of money. Making stuff up about Jackson State simply because you're pissed that your school didn't get the best kid and he decided to go to an HBCU. He decided to hang with the people that look like him. He decided to uplift his community. He decided to, like, come on, bro. You like, folks got to make up shit to have a story. You literally have to, like, I can't make this stuff up. They are making stuff up because they're so mad. And I'm going to show you how big mad they are. They're so mad that this young man decided to go to JSU and not Florida State or Georgia. He decided to go against the grain. Like, people are like, and this is how historic, and this is why this is such a big deal. This is why these people are so ticked off. It says it doesn't matter. He's the number one recruit. He get that money. He'd get it anywhere. He'd literally get it anywhere. Trucking with Tony. He would literally get it anywhere. Quinn Ewers. That's the guy I was thinking of. Quinn Ewers is the kid. So Quinn Ewers, I'm going to talk. I spoke about him earlier. Quinn Ewers was in high school. He's the number one high school quarterback like ever, right? Ranking wise, he was the number one quarterback. It was him and Vince Young. They're only according to 247. According to 247, Quinn Ewers had literally a perfect score as far as high school recruits. He was playing in the state of Texas. State of Texas doesn't allow high school players to get NIL. So he's like, man, bump this. My name is hot. NIL is hot. So let me go ahead. I'm going to enroll early at Florida at Ohio State. Even though I know I'm not going to play. CJ Stroud was the quarterback. CJ Stroud went on to be a Heisman finalist. I know I'm not going to play. I'm going to cash my checks. I'm going to cash these checks. Got $1 million. I'm probably got like almost $2 million in NIL money. And he only played like 3 snaps at Ohio State this whole season. Cashed in the $1 million, $2 million, however much he got. Decided to transfer. Now he's headed back to Texas where he originally wanted to go. But he couldn't do it because he wasn't getting that NIL money as a high school student. So now he's going back to Texas. He'll end up being the starting quarterback at Texas. So Quinn Ewers, shout out to Trucking with Tony for pointing that out. Doug Gottlieb is a tool. Doug Gottlieb is garbage. Doug Gottlieb is pure scum. That's pure, is plain and simple. So let me tell you this. Okay, so with the NIL and with people, so it doesn't make any sense for him to sign to do a pre-NIL to go to Jackson State. Georgia has more money than Jackson State. Florida State has more money than Jackson State. They have more money than Barstool. They have a better, more recent history than Jackson State. And you can get the NIL. Why would you risk your eligibility? Why would you do any of that when in 6 months you can sign all of these NIL deals? Now I'm gonna show you how pissed these people. Now this is why they can't fathom him going to Jackson State. This is why they're so mad that he chose an HBCU over all those Power 5 conferences. Look at this list. I'm going to show you this list. Let me move this thing out the way. This list shows the top number one overall. First, the top part shows the top ranked recruits in the 2021 class. Travis Hunter is numero uno. He's number one. People are losing their shit because he's choosing Jackson State. So he's number one, and he's the number one player. And look at all these other different schools. You got Texas A&M, you got Missouri SEC, Texas A&M ACC, North Carolina ACC. You got Texas A&M another time SEC, Alabama, of course. All these top guys going to all these SEC schools, Power 5, ACC, and this kid's going to Jackson State in the SWAC. This kid's going to play for Coach Prime and Deion Sanders. But this is why the people are pissed. Damani Jackson will probably end up going to either Georgia, which is SEC, or USC, Pac-12. This is why they're mad, because in the history, this is the history down here, is the history of the number one overall players, 247 history. Look at all the places they went. First of all, SEC, Big 10, Pac-12, but he ended up in an ACC, SEC, Big 10, and then he ended up in an SEC/Big 12. So it's unprecedented. And then you got SWAC. You got the SWAC, big old SWAC. That's upsetting apple cart. But another thing, look at what ended up happening with these guys. Jadeveon Clowney, number one overall pick. Dorial Green-Beckham kind of fell off the ranks, but Robin Kimdichie was a first-round pick. Leonard Fournette, top 5 pick. Rashawn Gary, first-round pick. Jalen Phillips, first-round pick. Trevor Lawrence, number one overall pick. Nolan Smith will be a first or second-round pick. Brian Breesy, now these guys aren't draft eligible yet because they're still in college. But listen to the history. First-round pick, first-round pick, first-round pick, first-round pick, first-round pick, number one overall pick. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what typically happens with the number one overall player. You're going to get a star. Most of the time, you are going to get a star, period. And for that star, this dude's going to be a star. Let's not beat around the bush. Travis Hunter's going to be a star. For this star to choose Jackson State over Florida State, for this star to choose a black college over a PWI, for this star to decide to be, like you said, real talk, the biggest sports story of the year. The biggest sports story of the year comes from Deion Sanders and Jackson State University. It's pissing a lot of people off. It's upsetting the apple cart. So what do we do when we're mad? We make up stuff. When people mad at you and they ain't got nothing on you, just lie on you. They start lying. So now we start lying about him having this stupid Barstool sports deal. No, we don't. You don't have no Barstool sports deal. He just making it happen. He's just a highly ranked player. He's just the best kid in his class. You're just mad because he's balling out of control and he chose Jackson freaking State over your school. Period. Look at the history of the top number one overall guys. Look at the history of it. First round pick. Dorial Green-Beckham still made it to the league. He wasn't a first round pick. But NFL, first round pick, top 5 pick, first round pick, number one overall. Come on, man. Like, come on. Like, the hate runs deep. The hate runs deep for Jackson State today. The hate. So, no, I'm not saying Most Dre. I'm not saying Jackson State doesn't deserve a star. I'm saying the haters just can't believe that not only did Jackson State get a star, Jackson State got the brightest star. They got the star that's going to be a first-round pick more than likely. The chances are, what are the chances? I mean, that we looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 12 names on that top-ranked list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 7 qualified, the 7 that's eligible. 6 out of 7 that's eligible were first-round picks. 2 of them were number one overall picks. People can't believe that a guy that high of a caliber chose Jackson State over their school. Big butt hurt, Big T. They're really butt hurt. Somebody says it's Farrakhan. Shout out to Farrakhan. It might be. We are glowing and growing. The spirit of our people. Hey, I ain't putting it past it because Deion is very religious. He said he was called by God to be at Jackson State and make these kind of things happen. When he comes out of the draft, the criticism will be his level of competition. Baloney. No, you're right, it's Snoopy. You're right, but that's garbage. Because the thing is, he's going to go to the combine and he's going to test out of the waters. And what people don't understand is half the NFL is undrafted. Like, you guys do realize that. Half the NFL is undrafted, period. Period. Half the NFL is undrafted. Some of the best players in the NFL went to small schools. Went to small schools or had bad records at the school they was at. Patrick Mahomes had a losing record at Texas Tech. They weren't very good. Cliff Kingsbury got fired at Tech, and he had Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. Lamar Jackson went to Louisville, which isn't a powerful conference. Like, Kyler Murray had to transfer. Like, come on. Like, in half the league's undrafted. So the fact that they'll go to this garbage lets me know these people they're literally working with nothing. And this is how sick some of these guys are. Some of these guys that are just hating on this young man, I mean, it's getting pretty pathetic. It is literally getting pathetic. Look at this Florida State fan. I'm going to show you something from a Florida State fan that was pissed at Deion because he flipped their top commit, their top recruit. This is from a Florida State fan. This is a tweet from a Florida State fan because Deion stole their recruit. It says, my most prized possession of all my FSU memorabilia. Deion was my childhood hero. I hope they never allow him back to campus. FSU should immediately unretire his number as well. He has never given a damn dime back to the school, so no one should be really surprised. See, this is how privileged some of these guys are. I mean, you got to be a sick individual if you think Deion Sanders owes you or Florida State a damn dime. Deion Sanders is the reason why Florida State's even relevant. Like Deion Sanders, they didn't care about exactly Trey Lance and Carson Wentz. Exactly. Shout out to my boy Brashawn. They didn't care about that stuff. Mayonnaise Mafia is pissed. They are pissed because Deion Sanders, recruiting is all about the pitch. He had the best pitch. You guys, first of all, bro, let's not even act like Florida State's even a good program to go to. They're not even good. The only good thing about Florida State is they're in Florida. Norvell is garbage and is 8-13 since he got hired as the coach, and they just gave him an extension. This team just went 5-7 on the year. Your team is bull. Like, your team sucks. Quit being mad that the kid, Travis Hunter, decides to go to an 11-1 SWAC champion team playing in the HBCU National Championship over garbage-ass Florida State. You guys suck. Alabama guys get drafted every year and bust. I'm not going to go that far. Alabama gets some busts sometimes, but anytime you get the best guys, all of them ain't going to be good. I mean, Alabama's good as hell. Like, we're not going to throw smut on Alabama name. We just throw a smut on the haters, the Mayonnaise Mafia. Shout out to All City, call them the Mayonnaise Mafia out here, hating on Deion and hating on an 18-year-old kid. Was drafted D2 football, Valdosta State. I mean, there's plenty of all. Eric, you're right. All the D1 colleges pay, and they didn't start paying with NIL. It didn't start with NIL with guys getting paid. For you to come out and make up this fake story, I'm going to show you guys another story too, by the way, where the NIL is really happening. They try to lie on Travis Hunter and say he got $2 million from Barstool, which was a lie. It was a lie. We already dispelled it. Shout out to my boy Kari Thompson down there in Jackson. He dispelled it. We killed that. Who the F wants to go to FSU? They're not. Why go to FSU? They're garbage. Trash. Deion don't owe them. He don't owe them a damn dime. You know how much money Deion's? First of all, Florida State, nobody would even know about Florida State if it wasn't for Deion Sanders. The team during that time was Miami. Everybody loved Miami. And Deion Sanders put Florida State on the map. He made Florida State. Let's be honest. Then after him came guys like Peter Warwick and Jameis Winston and, different guys like that. But before them, Florida State had no history. Then they started doing wide right every year, But Deion was like one of their first All-Americans. Deion was their first player. His jersey's retired. He's a College Football Hall of Famer. He won the Jim Thorpe Award. He was the top 5 pick by the Atlanta Falcons. All of that is because of Deion. He didn't have shit to do with no damn Florida State. Because if he would have went to Miami, he would have did all the same things. And the only difference is he would have won some national championships if he would have decided to go to Miami over Florida State back then. Period. It's the only difference. How is Deion a player when he made his own decision? I mean, come on, bro. Like, come on. Folks is hating on Deion because this kid decided he wanted to be coached by the best. They get paid on the table. Yes, they get paid. You guys ever see that 30 for 30? The 30 for 30 with the SMU? That was in the 80s. That was Eric Dickerson And all of them was getting paid by SMU in the 80s. In the 80s, college guys have been getting paid for a very, very long time. Cooper Kupp went to, yes, Cooper Kupp played in SES. He's the best receiver in the NFL right now. Shout out to Under the Score. Absolutely. Come on, man. You guys' comments are awesome, man. Shout out to y'all in the comments. Charlie Ward was a big player. He was a big-time player at Florida State, but he came after Deion. Think about that. Charlie Ward won the Heisman in the 90s. Deion played at Florida State in the 80s. He was their first star. He was their first real star. So, but guys want to talk about this fake NIL deal that Barstool. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr., by the way. For those of you tuning in, we're here real heavy. Hit the thumbs up button, guys. Everybody hit that thumbs up button. Leave your comments. I'm going to try to get as many as possible. But we're talking about this fake rumor that Travis Hunter, the #1 overall recruit who just committed to Jackson State and got a lot of these mayonnaise mafia's panties in a bunch, there was this fake rumor, it was fake, that he got $2 million from Barstool to sign with Jackson State, which honestly makes 0 sense because he lives in the state of Georgia where NIL isn't allowed for high school students. But let me show you guys some real NIL stuff. So there was the fake thing about him getting, $2 million. Here's what's actually happening with NIL and why it wouldn't even make sense for Travis Hunter to go to Jackson State for money. It says new NIL program will pay each Texas offensive lineman $50,000 a year. $50,000 a year. What happens is that these programs, these schools, because obviously NIL is here to stay and it's not going anywhere. Honestly, all of these things are going on. So these schools, these universities with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars are creating charities is what they're calling them, or nonprofits or whatever. And they're giving these guys money to come to their school. So Travis Hunter, think about this. Texas is willing to pay every offensive lineman. That means the ones who end up garbage. That means the ones who don't do anything. That means the ones who we'll never hear about. The ones who end up transferring. They're going to get $50K a year to come to Texas. So think about this, guys. This is why this Barstool stuff never made any sense, by the way. Hit the thumbs up button. Think about this. If Texas is a really big school, makes a whole lot of money. If Texas is willing to play these offensive linemen, some of them who will never play, some of them that will transfer, some of them will never see in a Texas jersey on the field actually contributing to wins and losses. If Texas is able to pay every offensive lineman on their team $50,000 a year, what the hell do you think Travis Hunter could have got? What do you think the #1 overall recruit could have gotten if he went to Texas? If he went to Florida State? If he went to Georgia? What do you think he could have got? You think he would have stopped at 2 million? 3 million? 4, 5? Come on. Are you serious? So you telling me that he chose Jackson State for $2 million when the Texas guys who won't even see the field can get $50K a year from one? That's just one organization. You can sign as many endorsement deals or NIL deals as you want. Come on, bro. Don't it make sense? It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even add up. It doesn't add up at all. You guys are just trying to throw smut on the name of the HBCUs, and I won't have it. I know it's only a few hundred of y'all listening to me right now, maybe a few thousand or whatever, but I won't have it. We're not just going to act like these programs are. Let's read about this Texas NIL thing. Horns with Hearts, a nonprofit charity organization, will provide every scholarship offensive lineman at Texas with $50,000 annually. That means every year, as a part of the new NIL program, the latest in a series of launches by Longhorn supporters that will likely spur a new type of arms race in college football. The program, appropriately named the Pancake Factory, will be the first of its kind. That's what these dudes are doing to give these kids money. Will be the first of its kind. It will support a football position group for players to participate in charitable endeavors. It will begin August 1st of 2022 with a total of $800,000 annually earmarked for the offensive line sponsorship. So these offensive linemen, some of them will never play. Some of them are walk-ons. Some of them will never play. Some of them will never know their name. It's going to get $50K a year. And you think Travis Hunter is risking his eligibility, risking his chance to play college football for Barstool for $2 million? He's going to get triple that in 6 months. it just doesn't make any sense, bro. It just doesn't make any sense. Let's read some of y'all comments. Travis and Deion could be with any sponsor in the world, but I get not knowing it's Barstool is important. We will see if this works and if any scandal can be avoided in a few months. The NCAA is definitely going to be looking because honestly, this is not what the NCAA wants. This is not what the NCAA wants. The NCAA wants their best players to go to their biggest and best schools. They don't want their best players going to FCS schools. Let's just be honest, because the FCS schools don't have national TV games, and so therefore they don't get the money when their best players go to Jackson State. Jackson State, half their games is on like ESPN 36, like what Deion said. Deion, Coach Prime addressed this. He said, let's not roll over and fight back. Absolutely, we're gonna fight back, bro. I'm gonna fight back on every chance of this. Most prospects and NFL players should play and coach in the SWAC and MEAC. I think that trend is coming. So All City, shout out to All City. Thanks for subscribing. That trend is coming. I don't know if you guys saw on my Twitter. My Twitter is at JLightsy7. I made a video about how I would have loved to have seen Ed Reed as the head coach of Grambling. I'm happy Grambling got Hugh Jackson. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy as hell they got Hugh Jackson. But Ed Reed would have been Ed Reed would have been something special. And Ed Reed actually saw the tweet. Ed Reed saw the tweet and responded to it. And he talked about this doesn't tell you much, but it gives you a little bitty glimpse onto what's taking place. So this was the tweet that I put out. Well, there was a video attached to the tweet. And it says, the tweet I put out was like, Ed Reed turned down the Grambling State job. Some of you may have saw it, some of you didn't. Ed Reed actually saw the tweet. And this is Ed Reed's response. He said, I appreciate the encouragement, Jeff. Head coaches have to make some decisions. Do you go for it or punt? Timing is everything. Timing is everything. HBCU love, go Tigers, as in the Grambling Tigers. So this is big because timing is everything. Ed Reed just told you timing is everything because he currently works for Miami. He like a recruiting guy down at Miami. He's on the support staff at the Miami football. And Miami just got a new football coach in Mario Cristobal. And so Ed Reed, if Manny Diaz doesn't get fired and Cristobal gets brought in, or if there's any other coach besides Mario Cristobal, Ed Reed maybe is the head coach of Grambling State right now. And the reason why I say that is because any other coach wouldn't have been a U alum. Any other coach wouldn't have been Mario Cristobal. Any other coach wouldn't have got the fan base excited and got everybody hyped up to be a part of the U football team program again. Every coach can't do that. But Cristobal can do that because Cristobal played at the U. Cristobal won championships at the U. Cristobal knows the landscape of Miami. And so I think Ed Reed wants to be a part of that. He wants to be a part of bringing his alma mater up. If it's anybody else, if Manny Diaz stays, this is just my theory. This is not from what I heard from anybody. It's just what I believe. If Manny Diaz doesn't get fired, I believe Ed Reed is the head coach of the Grambling State Tigers. I believe Ed Reed is a head coach in the SWAC. I believe Ed Reed is there. That's just once again, this is my theory. I have no other way. I have no way of proving it besides this tweet. But that's just what I believe. But don't get it twisted. I believe Ed Reed will be a head coach at an HBCU. I believe Ed Reed will be leading an HBCU program in the very near future. I believe Ray Lewis has a great interest in HBCU coaching. I believe Ray Lewis could make a hell of an impact at an HBCU program. I believe Ed Reed and Ray Lewis both have a ton of interest to coach in the SWAC or the MEAC. This is just from what I've heard, just from some of the people I talked to. While I got my JSU, shirt on. We already know the prime. I call it the prime effect. The prime effect is in full effect. It was in effect even before Travis Hunter came because Eddie George took the job at TSU, at Tennessee State, because of what Deion Sanders is doing. He did that. All those kids came to JSU. That's why they have such a special season this year. 11-1. SWAC champions for the first time since 07. SWAC East champions for the first time since 07. Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award in the FCS for Deion Sanders. SWAC Coach of the Year award for Deion Sanders. Newcomer of the Year award for James Houston. Florida transfer, by the way. SWAC Freshman of the Year award for Shedeur Sanders. Jerry Rice FCS Freshman of the Year for Shedeur Sanders. This don't happen without Deion. This don't happen without Coach Prime. So, I mean, it is what it is, bro. Power Fives are shook, Terrence. You're right. Power Fives are shook. They're shivering in their boots and they're pissed off, so they had to make up rumors. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. I'm talking about the rumor that has been dispelled that Barstool Sports paid Travis Hunter, the #1 overall recruit in the country, $2 million to come to JSU. That is false. That is a lie. We have dispelled it here, and I've showed plenty of reasons why it doesn't even make sense. It didn't even make sense. They would try to hit us with some sort of violation. That's why the rumor was started. The rumor was started to try to do that, DeMarco. They started this rumor because they want to hit JSU with some kind of violation because people can't fathom that the #1 overall recruit would want to go play, I don't know, in front of people that look like him and in a culture that best suits him, for a team that looks like him, that acts like him, that listens to the music that he listened to, that like the food that he liked, that understands everything that takes place in this world just like he does, for a coach that's willing to go above and beyond for each and every one of his students and players. I don't know. That just didn't make sense to a lot of people. So much so that they're burning Deion jerseys, that they're starting stupid rumors on message boards, that that Portnoy's kind of, because he's a guy that kind of likes to egg this kind of stuff, that they're just making up stuff to try to make it seem like this just can't happen. Why exactly, Cedric? Shout out to Cedric Walker. Why not learn from the best cornerback of all time? Why not learn from the best cornerback of all time? So the question is, why would Barstool pay millions to a kid with no return for them? Their return, exactly, Larry. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make not a lick of sense. It doesn't make not a lick of sense. There is no return for them. There is none. Travis Hunter, if we're just being honest, Deion, Coach Prime works with Barstool, and so does Gillian Wallow, but they're like outliers. If you guys follow anything that Barstool does, what Gillian Wallow do and what Deion, what Coach Prime does, those are kind of like outliers for Barstool. Barstool's audience, most of it ain't people that look like us. Most of it ain't from people that look like us. That's most of their audience. They got a hell of an audience. Don't get it twisted. Barstool got fans everywhere. But they go around doing goofy stuff. They go around, doing a whole bunch of silly stuff. They eat a pizza. They get pizza reviews and all kinds of stuff, but most of their audience don't look like us, man, for Barstool. So, but people just can't believe that Prime got a kid to choose Jackson State over Florida State and over Georgia. It's just hard for people to live. Now, people are saying this kid Big Country is to JSU. I haven't seen that yet. So people are saying Big Country, his name's Josh Griffiths. He's also a Florida State. He was a Florida State transfer. And they're saying that he is committed to Jackson State. So he was a former 3-4 star guy. I think it was a high 3-star. Maybe some sites have him as a low 4-star, whatever. He's a 3-star guy. He was a transfer from Florida State, and he has chosen to go to Jackson State from what the comments are saying. People are saying Josh Griffiths. So, it sounds like Florida State got a double whammy from Coach Prime. Coach Prime double dip they're saying it's official. It's on his Twitter. That's good. It's good for him. I don't know how good that kid is. Honestly, I don't know. Josh Griffiths. I'm pulling up his Twitter. I don't see anything. Let me refresh it. I just don't know how good he is. So yeah, there's that. Josh Griffiths. I'm on here. Unless you guys can show me something else. I don't see it on his Twitter. But Zack Evans. Now, Zack Evans is big. So some of you guys are asking about Zack Evans. Zack Evans was a 5-star running back in high school, and he is a transfer from TCU. Now, Zack Evans, I don't think he's made it official where he's going either, but he can take a lot of time because a lot of teams want Zack Evans. Zack Evans is really, really good. Now, Zack Evans, for those of you who don't know, like I said, he made this tweet back in November. So Zack Evans is a transfer from Michael Pease is going to JSU, and I'll show some Michael Pease if you guys want to see that. But Zack Evans, once again, guys, we were talking about Travis Hunter And the fake rumor that came out about Barstool giving him $2 million, that turned out to be fake. Now, Zack Evans was a 5-star running back in high school. He decided to transfer from TCU, not TSU, TCU. But before he decided to transfer, he made this tweet. This was when Deion Sanders' name was floating around the TCU job. And he said, "We want Deion." So then he entered the transfer portal, and a lot of people believe that JSU could be his next destination. And he could be. He could be. Now, somebody's saying it hasn't been confirmed yet on Josh Griffiths. So I haven't seen that either. But yeah, I haven't seen that either, but that will be a nice pickup for that defensive line at JSU. The JSU defensive line, JSU team that led the SWAC and led all the FCS in sacks. So yeah, man, I just wanted to come on here and clear all the smut off of Deion Sanders' name while he's preparing for. I mean, he only, don't worry about it, Coach Prime. I got you, because people are trying to throw smut on your name because they just can't believe that you landed the number one player in all of high school football. That the number one player and all of high school football chose not to go to Florida State, chose not to go to Georgia, chose not to go to, or I forgot what that other hat he had on, chose not to go to any of those schools, but he decided to go to an HBCU in the SWAC and play for Coach Prime, Deion Sanders at JSU. And they try to lie and say the Barstool paid him $2 million to do it, when it just, quite frankly, didn't make any sense for Barstool to even do that. So that is all I know. That's all I seen. I had to clear all of that. My boy Curry Thompson was the first to report it that Barstool did not pay the man $2 million. I'm not saying he won't get paid. I am not saying he will not get paid once he stepped foot on campus. Let's be clear, guys. So if in 6 months Barstool comes out and says they have an NIL deal with Travis Hunter, don't tell me like, "Oh, you were wrong, blah, blah, blah." No, when you get to college, you can sign all the NIL endorsement deals all you want. I'm saying right now, it doesn't make any sense to jeopardize your eligibility and for Barstool to sign this man when it's illegal in the state of Georgia. So I am not saying as soon as Travis Hunter steps foot on Jackson State's campus that somebody ain't going to throw $1 million or two at him, or multiple somebodies, because it's happened all over college football. Bryce Young, who just won the Heisman, had over $1 million in NIL before he ever played a snap. Now, it was a good investment, and those people were smart because he went on to win the Heisman, but before he ever took a snap, he got $1 million. Quinn Ewers left high school early, went up to Ohio State, got $1 million from some company back in Texas, didn't play 3 snaps all year, decides to transfer, heading back to Texas, where I'm told, I read the reports, that he's going to get somewhere around the $5 million range in NIL. $5 million range in NIL, because he's a Texas boy playing for Texas, and he plays quarterback. So yes, is Travis Hunter going to get an NIL deal? Abso-freaking-lutely. Shedeur Sanders signed with Beats by Dre. And let's not forget, guys, Antoine Owen, I told you this in my last broadcast, the first player in all of college football to sign an NIL deal. It was signed at 1201. It was by a kid who played for Jackson State. It was by, hold on, man, you guys, you ain't got to believe me, bro. You ain't got to, hold on. You ain't got to believe me. Because I don't like just saying stuff and not having the facts, bro. I'm not one of those guys that just talk to be talking. Nah. Let's read this together, people. Let's read this together, people. All right, can everybody see that? Let me know in the chat that you can see that. Let me know in the chat that let me move all the banners. Let me move all this stuff. Let me know in the chat. Once I get some yeses in the chat that you can read, that you can see what that says, we'll move on. Please let me know in the chat that you can see what does that say? What does that say? It says Jackson State. Antoine Owens becomes the first D1 player to sign an NIL contract. What does that say? Jackson State's Antoine Owen becomes the first D1 player to sign an NIL contract. That ain't the second, that ain't the fifth, that ain't the first HBCU player, ain't the first freaking FCS player. That's the first player in Division I football. This article was written July 1st. For those of you who can't read that, this article was written on July 1st by Blake Schuster, and that is bleacherreport.com. That is BleacherReport.com. This article was written July 1st, 2021. That's Bleacher Report, guys. I have no reason to lie about this stuff. So when I say that, yes, Travis Hunter is going to get an NIL deal, this is why. This is why I'm so confident that he's going to get a nice NIL. Not only is he going to get an NIL deal, he's going to get a nice one because he's a really, really nice player. He's really good. And Antoine Owen, who had not suited up for Jackson State by the time he got this deal, by the way, became the first player to sign an NIL contract back on July 1st. The first D1 player to do so. So, yeah, in 6 months, yeah, he signed it right after midnight, right when he became eligible. He had it in the works. He had it ready. So in 6 months, when Travis Hunter signs an NIL deal, of course he's going to sign one. Jackson State been ahead of this before everybody. A lot of people didn't, Larry. A lot of people didn't. But these are the kind of things that Coach Prime is doing. These are the kind of things. Hold on, I got something else to show you. That's something else to show you guys. Got something else to show you. Hold on. What's this say? You got a lot of you guys already know this. FSU, they are just big mad, bro. They are just big mad. They're pissed that Jackson State. So when I tell you, what's that say? Tell me if you can read that. Beats by Dre signs Jackson State quarterback Shedeur Sanders as first collegiate ambassador. So is Travis Hunter going to get an NIL deal? That's not even a question. It's about how much he's going to get. So what advantages do you have of going to Florida State over Jackson State? What advantages? You're not gonna win a national championship. You're not gonna do that. They're not that good. Mike Norvell's 8-13 as the head coach. You're not gonna win a national championship. Okay, take that off. Oh, you're gonna get big time NIL deals. Jackson State had the first college football player to get an NIL deal, and their quarterback was the first player to get a deal by Beats by Dre, one of the most popular headphones. So which is owned by Apple, by the way. So you can't get better NIL deals at Florida State than you can at Jackson State. Or you're going to get better coaching. Deion Sanders is the greatest cornerback to ever live. So no, you're not going to get better coaching. Or you're going to play in a better competition. The ACC, last I checked, ain't that good. I'm a big time Louisville fan. The ACC ain't that good. This is period. The ACC ain't that good. So what benefits do you have of going to Florida State over Jackson State? I have yet to hear one. So why in the hell are all these Florida State fans mad and creating rumors about this guy getting paid $2 million from Beats? I mean, $2 million from Barstool. We are in here heavy, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. None of it makes sense. Let me read some of your comments. At this point, it doesn't matter what the athletes decide. Now, to a certain extent, it still does. You go play at Alabama, you're gonna play for a national championship. Now, Sour Diesel, I'm gonna say this. You go play at Alabama, you're gonna play for a national championship. You go play at Jackson State, you're gonna play for a national championship. So those matter. If that matters to you, that does matter. You gonna go play at Alabama, you gonna play for a national championship. Go play at Ohio State, you're gonna play for a national championship. But if you go play at Jackson State, you also are going to be playing for a national championship. Oh, but it's an HBCU national championship. So what? It's to me, it's just as big as the college football playoff. Obviously, you don't have all the glitz and glamour of the college football playoff, but that's because we haven't supported it financially. If we show up in droves like we have and like we're going to on Saturday at the Celebration Bowl, this can be just as big as anything. The Celebration Bowl has sold out for the first time ever this year because of you all. Because you all put your money where your mouth's at and supported these schools financially. So if you go to Alabama, at this point it does matter. Because if you go to Alabama, it's a handful of schools in the NCAA that you can go to, or Power 5, you can go to win a national championship. Alabama, Ohio State, maybe USC coming up, but really Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, maybe they're getting in there for the first time this year. That's about it. Clemson historically, but they might be on the downside. That's about it. That's literally it. But with Hugh Jackson going to Grambling, what Coach Dancy is doing at Mississippi Valley, obviously what Coach Prime is doing at Jackson State, Alcorn and their history, Alabama A&M and their history, recent history, You can make some noise in the SWAC. B.O. is big mad. Yeah, he is big mad. Not going to have a winning record. I don't know. I don't know what some of you guys are talking about. Jackson State, JSU, give Coach Prime a lucrative extension. So Kari Thompson talked about this in my broadcast I did with him last night. Go be sure to check that out. It's called the Celebration Preview. The Celebration Bowl Preview with Kari Thompson, who was the beat writer of Jackson State at the Clarion Ledger down in Jackson, Mississippi. He talked about this right here, this lucrative extension you're talking about, Larry. The reason why JSU can't give Deion a big lucrative Deion, let's be honest, guys. Let's come on. Can we keep it a bean? Please, let's keep it a bean. Deion is taking a pay cut being the head coach at Jackson State. Deion Sanders is taking a huge pay cut to be the head coach at Jackson State. And so he's not doing it for the money. He's not doing it for the fame or notoriety. He had all of that. He has money, he has fame, he has notoriety. He is taking a huge pay cut to be the head coach at Jackson State. He is the head coach at Jackson State because he was called by God. This is his words, not mine. He is the head coach at Jackson State right now because he was called by God. Period. So he's not going to get a lucrative extension. He could get an extension, possibly if he wants it, but it's not going to be lucrative. Jackson State as a university don't have that kind of money, but it's because kids like Travis Hunter historically have chosen the Florida States, have chosen the Georgias or the Alabamas or the Texas or Oklahoma or USC, and not chosen the Mississippi Valleys or the Bethune-Cookmans or the Prairie Views or the Jackson States, historically, not since integration. Nuri Muhammad was on my page, and I'm going to just quote this, but it's standing pretty true. He said, integration equaled decimation for Black people. He said integration equaled decimation for Black people. and that stands to be true in a lot of aspects, but especially in college football. When I was working in local news, I interviewed a man by the name of Nate Northington. Some of you may or may not know who Nate Northington is. Nate Northington was the first Black player in the history of the SEC, in the history of the Southeastern Conference. Nate Northington, he played for the University of Kentucky. He and another man were the two players, but Nate Northington is one that's recognized as the first Black player to ever touch a field for an SEC school. That was historic because obviously the SEC is in the South. The SEC has Alabama, has Ole Miss, Mississippi, super racist, Alabama, super racist, Georgia, all these other places that were just hella racist in the 60s. And Nate Northington integrated the SEC. And once Nate Northington decided to go to Kentucky in the SEC, other Black players, other SEC schools, once it became integrated, other SEC schools had to integrate, and they started getting the best guys. So the Walter Paytons of the world that went to Jackson State, and the Deacon Joneses of the world, and the Jerry Rices of the world, and the Michael, all these big time players that didn't have a choice but to go to HBCUs, now could go to Kentucky, or now could go to Alabama, or now could go to Mississippi, Ole Miss, and now could go to Mississippi State. And that is when we saw the fall of HBCU athletics. Now, obviously, there were outliers. There were Michael Strahans, and there were Steve McNairs, and there were, Jerry Rices, and all, there were outliers. But those guys are outliers. Like Alabama, in the last 2 years, have 4 first-round picks at wide receiver alone. The HBC, listen to this. In last year, in the 2021 NFL draft, there wasn't not one HBCU player drafted. Alabama's had 4 wide receivers in the first round the last 2 years. There wasn't one HBCU player drafted in a 7-round draft. Integration became decimation. Integration became decimation. And so what Coach Prime has done at Jackson State, followed by Eddie George at TSU, followed by followed by Hugh Jackson at Grambling, is trying to keep those guys at the HBCUs, at the Jackson States of the world, the I love, and therefore the SWAC as a whole. Because if you see Deion doing this, your school has to step its game up. Your school has to step its game up, whether it's pay more money for a better coach, upgrade the facilities, reach out, get some donations going, something got to change. Because Jackson State just got the number one player in the country, not the number one player in the state of Mississippi, not the number one player in this region. The number one player in the country just went to a SWAC school. So we're going to have to step our game up. Whatever that looks like, we're going to have to do it. And the thing is, there's too many alums of these historically black colleges for them to be in the dumps. Like, think about Howard for a second. Think about Howard. Howard has all of these alums, all of these famous people. How in the hell does Howard not have dorms? How do Howard have dorms with mold and mice in it? Now, they got to correct it. I'm going to shout them out for that. They corrected it. But students came to campus with a dorm that had mice and mold. Howard University, the Mecca, as they call it, had mice and mold. Come on, we got to do better. And so I'm going to do my part, and that's highlighting and dispelling stupid rumors, highlighting the HBCUs as they deserve, giving them the proper, whatever I can do in the media, the proper coverage, the proper attention. And I'm going to support them monetarily as well. I'm going to go to games. I'm going to buy merch. I'm going to buy tickets. I'm going to do these things. And you should too. You should too. And that's how they continue to get better and better every single day. Now, I'm gonna read some of the chat. Let's see. It says Dooley was a bad pick for Southern. Dooley took Prairie View to the SWAC championship. You can say he was a bad pick. He did take Prairie View to the SWAC championship. It says, I pray HBCUs flip 5-star recruits for the rest of the tourney. I pray they do too, man. I think this is the start of something special. I really do. I think Travis Hunter was the first, but that's why it's so key to read his tweet. He says, I hope I'm able to guide the light to make this decision easier for the next guy that wants to go to Jackson, or the next guy that wants to go to Southern, or the next guy that wants to go to Grambling, because he's getting murdered for this. He's getting ripped to shreds. I just showed you guys Doug Gottlieb, who's a scum. I just showed you Doug Gottlieb, how he's hating on an 18-year-old kid. And, Doug Gottlieb's not the only one. He's just the one with the biggest platform that I've seen so far. But Travis Hunter's going to get murdered for this. He's going to get murdered for this. He's getting murdered for this. But he said, I hope that my decision can make the next decision for the next kid a lot easier. I hope that my decision makes it easier for the next kid. Guys are wearing here really heavy. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. I'm going through some of the comments. It says, anything done for melanated people only is a hater. Come on. Say, hey, Dale, I wish I had like Vicky Dillard has like that gavel. Say it again, Dale. Anything done for melanated people is a hate crime, accounting to the opposer. I mean, it's just plain and simple. Plain and simple. They mad because we feel the competition for black athletes they never had to deal with before. They want us to keep them. Come on, Big Kevin, you absolutely right. They want to keep us in the basement so they can keep plucking all the top players. Well, that day looks like it might be over. It might be over. Because this kid came and he's not the last. That's the thing about a trendsetter. I tweeted this earlier. I said a trendsetter. Let me read my tweet. Make sure I ain't lying to y'all. It says, whoa, where's it go? I love the NIL. Oh, dang, I don't know where my tweet's at. Okay, let me show you guys this tweet that I made earlier today. It's talking about a trendsetter. It's talking about trendsetters. I said, before you have a trend, you must have a trendsetter. And Travis Hunter potentially just became a trendsetter for HBCU football. Before you have a trend, before anything's hot, what made beanies hot, right? What made certain shirts hot? What made, certain gear hot? Certain looks, certain styles, certain things hot? It was a trendsetter. It was a certain person. It was a person. It was what they call nowadays influencers. What influencer made something hot? It was somebody, some influencer, something made something hot. And Travis Hunter just became that influencer for HBCU football. Travis Hunter just became that for Jackson State. Travis Hunter just did something against the grain. He did something that a lot of us didn't think we'd ever see. The number one overall player in high school football, chosen HBCU over Power 5 offers from everywhere. It ain't never been done before. And a lot of us didn't ever think we'd ever see that. And so shout out to Travis Hunter, who turned down $2 million, who the rumor was he got $2 million from Barstool. And he's gonna get triple that through different NIL deals. Why in the hell would he ruin his eligibility? That's all I have today, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. We were in really heavy, really deep. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button and share this video to dispel the rumor that Travis Hunter got $2 million to go to Jackson State. It didn't make any sense from the beginning, and I dispelled that numerous of times in this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe on your way out. My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. You can follow me on Instagram at JLightsy7. I post all of my content right there on Instagram at JLightsy7 and on Twitter at JLightsy7. Also, it's Jeff Lightsy Sports on Facebook. For those of you on Facebook, it's Jeff Lightsy Sports. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time. Peace.